Hi Curtis, how are you?
Hey guys, how you doing? You all right?
Good, thank you. Just as we look back at Tuesday, lots of positives in defeat. Is it a case as you look now to prepare for Forest on Saturday, it's kind of almost the performance over the result because there were so many plus points?
Yes, yeah. I think it is. It's the way we work and what we do, but it still doesn't get any easier, does it, guys? That's we have to. We take the pluses, and there's a lot of pluses. I thought there was a lot of positives to come from it. But again, we were talking about we want the performance. When I spoke to you myself, a few weeks ago, and it was, performance, and the results would come. We think that's a result that got away, if we're honest, and we have to look at the little details. And it was only fine details on the goals we conceded. So again, we've looked at that. So yes, there's a lot of positives. And in the Championship, you can't sit around too long. As soon as the game was finished, I was cranky. But you get your head on and you go, right, Forest, what's happening? And then yesterday I'm in, and your day off, getting ready for the battle ahead. So we're looking forward to it. A lot of positives, but I think it's 3 points that we threw away.
Everyone in life makes mistakes. When mistakes are made, how do you handle that as a coach? Do you talk to the players, or often do they put their hands up and hopefully learn lessons from any mistakes that are made on a particular match?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is the honesty of the guys. The guys who are involved in the goals will know that we don't need to go shouting and screaming. The lads, if they made mistakes, are honest mistakes or things that they could have done better at. And after the game, a couple of the lads came and said it to us, and we know that, and we've had a look at it with them as well, and just giving them the different options that can happen. And when you get into there, you've got to protect your goal. The first goal, we're just talking, if you're in doubt, protect your goal. Doesn't matter where the ball is, just protect your goal, and then we'll see what happens. And sometimes that over exuberance I think the ball went over Eamon's head, but he's looking to close down in front of him, and we're just thinking, have a look, behind you. But at the end of the day, he's a young boy learning his trade, as I keep saying, and I thought he did well in the game. He's probably playing more Championship minutes than he dreamt of. And it's a real tough learning curve. But no, I think it's a bit of both. And I think as I said to you before, we're honest management, and we've got honest players, and we will look at it and we'll talk. And if someone needs to be talked to, we'll do that. But most of the time they'll come and tell us, or just put their hands up and say, sorry, it won't happen again. The worry is if it keeps happening, then you it won't happen again. Okay, no problems. But it keeps happening, then we've got to go after them.
Absolutely right. Every City fan's delighted to see Joe Williams back in the squad and playing so well. I think every City fan also understands that you're having to manage him at the moment, given his record. Is this his short-term future, maybe being rotated, or how long will he be maybe in and out the side, and how long before you can say, I can give you 10 games in a row? Is that an unrealistic ambition at this stage?
No, I don't think. No, I don't think it is. I think he understands what we're doing, what the medical team have done brilliantly with him to calm him down, and he has to be honest as well with us about his body and how he's feeling. The old thumbs up, I'm doing great, and they're like, your calf is tightening up or whatever, or your hamstring. So no, we're gradually building on that for him. And there's nothing better. We want him to be available every game in 90 minutes. And that's what he wants. He's chomping at the bit. At the moment now, we're managing it. The medical staff and him are managing. And we will get that aligned sooner rather than later, we hope. But we will be careful with him, and we make sure there's nothing better than see him coming on or starting a game for us, because I think he's an important player for us, and he will be in the future. And it's not short term, this. I've said to you before, it's not we always say sprint, marathon or whatever, but he's going to have a huge part to play in the future of Bristol City over the next few seasons, so we have to make sure he's in the best shape he can possibly be.
Big plus has been Sam Bell the last 2 games. How is he in terms of playing an away match? Do you have to reassess maybe playing him in that position at an away ground, or does it not really matter the venue? Because Cam Pring's had 2 good cameo appearances off the bench as well, so you've got good competition at fullback.
Yeah, that's what we want, and I don't think Belly's done anything wrong, and I'm glad that you're giving him a mention. He's had to be patient probably more than anybody, if you think about it. I think Tommy Conway has had a few minutes this season. Pringy's been in, Scotty's been playing every game, and they're all in that little group. hang around together, you know, and do come training, and they're out early playing the little football games and stuff. So he's had to be patient. But I'm really, really happy for him. I've got a real soft spot for Belly. I think he gives you 110% every time he trains. He's amazing. He's a great kid to work with. He when the session's finished, he's first picking the gear up. You know, it's unbelievable. So he hasn't changed. He plays a championship game or he doesn't play, and he doesn't even get on the bench. He's bombed off the bench or something, and he hasn't changed. So he's desperate to do well, Belly. I'm really happy for him that he's done very well. But again, we need to get that consistency into him. And Nigel will, we'll have a chat, and Nigel will pick the team. That goes so far. It's another tough game. You know, it's a winnable game for us, you know, like every championship game, as I said to you. But, you know, sometimes it's fine margins. But for him individually, I'm really happy for him. And I think for him, waking up this morning, coming into training, he would have been happy to say, I've made an impact. I've made an impact. He was desperate to get a chance. He's come in and he's done well. So that's great for us.
How close are George Tanner and Rob Atkinson to a return? Are we still waiting a bit longer?
Yeah, still waiting a bit longer with these lads. They still won't be. They're still not in training with us just yet. So again, we're building them, you know, slowly but surely. Again, we want them all back fit, but we all want them back fit mentally and physically, and ready to go. Because if we need them, they'll get put in. So we have to make sure that there's no, breaking down with them. And I think what we have to understand is George has come from, League Two football, and Rob's come from League One football. Again, I think this is a different intensity to play on a consistent basis, and maybe their body, like us all, when we get a chance to do something, and your first game you're flying, it's the second game you feel knackered on, so you play 3, 4, 5 games and you're on a high, and then it's that expectation onto your body and your mind, and I think again we've got to make sure that they're stronger, or if not even stronger than they were at the start of the season.
And not expecting him back anytime soon, but just how's Nathan Baker? When we last asked, I think he was actually in the building. Is he still integrating with the players, even though he's not getting first team football at the moment?
Yes, he is. Yeah. And again, I think it's great to see him around. You were at the game that day, or if you were at the game where you saw the injury that he had at Sheffield United that time, it's quite scary, really, because it really brought into perspective life. When we saw what happened to him, football is wonderful, but I was worried about him as a man. He's just had a baby, and you're thinking, I hope so. He's gradually coming back. It's great to have him around. He's happy to be back in, I think. He's probably fed up changing nappies and that, but he's, or I don't know, he has to change the nappies or do the feeding or whatever he's doing, but he's good. He's back in the building, but again, we'll be very, very cautious and patient with him.
I think there are 12 games to go. Is one of the challenges between now and the end of the season to stop this win, lose, and get a bit of consistency? How big a challenge is that for you between now and the end of the season?
I think it's a huge one. I think back-to-back wins, especially in this league, are huge. I think it makes such a difference in the table. Sometimes you can win a game, you can lose a game, you don't go anywhere. You don't go anywhere in the championship sometimes, but if you've got 3 wins in a week, or you lose 3 games in a week, then you can see a big difference. Then you drop 3 places, but it might be only 1 point, or 2 points. So it's very, very important that we finish as high as we can. We're not resting on our laurels. I think it's something that we have to. I've said to you before, there's a determination to get better. In all aspects of it, not just people saying, well, you got to concede, you don't stop conceding. We want to do the whole package. We want to be as fit as anybody. We want to be as consistent as anyone. We want to keep clean sheets, which we haven't. That's another goal that we have to stick at and really, really be determined to do. And we still want to score more goals. So I think the next 12 games, for me and for everyone else, is a big challenge, because we want to be building. And if it's not this 12 games, we're talking about next season. There's 46 games. So you'll have 12 games now to prepare for it, then a little break, and then you're back to pre-season. So there's nothing better than finishing the season well. And with that will be consistency of performance, but consistency of results. So same, I'm the same as you. I want back-to-back wins. I thought, there was an opportunity, I thought, that passed us by the other night. When we really came back in, we came back from a goal down, and I thought we were in the ascendancy. And I thought that last 15, 20 minutes we'd have a great chance to do that, and we haven't. But that's history. That's gone. Let's beat Forest and let's go on to the next game, and let's go on to the next game, and then let's see where we finish.
Yeah, and your younger players in midfield, your attacking players are thriving at the moment. If it's not broke, you don't want to fix it. But yes. Do you also have to account for a bit of fatigue? And is it not possible for them to play every single game?
No, but then again, I think at the end of the day, you know, some of them mentally are strong enough to do it. Some, you know, may go a little bit. They're all classed as young players, but some are different as individuals. So I think we have to gauge what we do with them all as individual basis. And most of the players, if there's a fatigue setting in, but at the end of the day, we get paid to play matches. You don't get paid to get treatment. You don't get paid to have a week on, a week off. You know, if they're ready, you know. And sometimes I said to I think one of the games when we finished, Antoine was a little bit sore, and Han had hurt his hip a little bit, and Scotty was hurt his shoulder a little bit. And I said, welcome to the next 15 years of your life. And says, that's what it is. If you go out to another championship game and play with no bang, you're a lucky man. You're a lucky man. So this is part of your education.
It's only 15 years of pay.
Yes, that's
final word on Forest. Steve Cooper's had a galvanising effect since joining the club, and they're still in the FA Cup. What test will they give you at the City Ground on Saturday?
I think it's always a tough place to go and play. I think there's an expectation there. I think they start off, a real good tempo. They did a bit of business in January. They'd be probably one of the clubs that have done a little bit more business than others. I think which shows that they have a backing or an expectation to try and get into that top six. So they'll be looking forward to us coming, but we're looking forward to the game. We know it's going to be tough, but I really, you sound like a broken record, but we have a real confidence in our ability as a team, and as I said, it's the consistency of those performances and consistency as individuals that we've been working the hardest probably on. And I think we go into the game, as you said, yes, we've lost the game, but I think that we've got to go into it remembering the positives from the last few games where we've played very well. And I think we're probably due a win away from home as well.
Let's hope so. Thank you. I'll see you on Saturday.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Hi, Curtis.
Hi, how you doing, Richard?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. On Tuesday, Pearson mentioned that the younger players at the moment are gaining some tough but valuable experiences. Kind of in reference to that, how was Masengo reacted to Tuesday night?
Yeah, I think again sometimes you have to. He's honest. You know him. You know he's a good kid. And after the game, he wasn't happy with himself. But that's 10 seconds of a 96-minute game, and I think he did a lot of very good stuff in the game. And I think we have to point that out to him as well. People, I think sometimes it's easy to talk about the bad things, isn't it? It's easy to say, you were terrible. But what does you were terrible mean? That you made a bad decision at that time? Or you've been terrible for 96 minutes? So, Hans sometimes probably a little bit too harsh on himself. And, we've spoken to him about some of his lapses maybe in concentration sometimes in games. And that's something that we have to work on, and we are working on it. And he's probably, working on it as hard as anyone. But some little things keep cropping up. If nothing happens after he gives the ball away the other day, we wouldn't be even mentioning him. We'd probably just say it was another good performance from him. So I think we take that on board, and he's with us. He's with us. You can see that he gives you everything, doesn't he? The fans love him. There's a kind of a buzz around the place. He's enjoying his time here. He's brilliant with his community work. So we take all of that in when we're dealing with people. But there's no doubt that's an experience that he won't want to go through again. So you're hoping that if anything happens like with 15 minutes to go, that he's thinking, this is what I'm going to do. Not what I did do, what I'm going to do.
And how do you as a coach make sure that the player himself or players in general just don't dwell on it? Because surely you can turn it into a positive in the longer run.
I think we have a huge part to play in it. I think his teammates have a huge part as well to play in it, because they've run around. Some of the lads have done 11 kilometres, in the game, and they're knackered and they're looking across the dressing room and Hans thinking, sorry if I did this and did that. And it's how they react and how we react as coaches. I think we have a real appreciation of the honest endeavour that a lot of our lads do, and we know that sometimes there's mistakes made But they're honest mistakes, and sometimes it's, when I mean honest mistakes, I mean the mistakes that they were thinking at that moment to do something positive for the team, and not thinking about themselves. And I think that's very, very important. So on the other hand, he's probably looking for a reaction, isn't he? When first time you see him after the game, he's looking to see how we look, and you might want to strangle him. Do you know what I mean? Or you're going to chase him around, or are you going to do this, you're going to do that. But at the end of the day, we know what he is, and we know that he'd be hurting as much as anyone, and it's up for us there to be there to support him, because there's times in games where people haven't seen a lot of the unheralded stuff he does. So for us, it's about backing him, and we put these young lads in because. Not because they're nice kids. I've said this to you before. I say this to every young kid. If the manager's picking you, he's not picking you. There's loads of nice kids out in the street. There's loads. And go to Dublin, there's loads of them. You're getting in there because of your ability. So I think that's a huge thing. And now they're on the coal face, aren't they? So it's getting highlighted. They could put Sky on and someone saying, what's he doing there? They go onto Twitter, there's someone saying, what's he doing there? So it doesn't happen in a lot of games. So they're learning as well as it goes. So, at the end of the day, we hope to have that finished package.
Sure. And a word on Alex Scott, he kind of needs no introduction, really. When you plays great one week, he seems to perform even better the next week. I mean, just how kind of difficult is it going to be to keep hold of him this summer?
Well, I'm hoping. Hopefully, it's not. Hopefully, it's not. Where is he going to go and play consistently well? At the moment, he's still a young guy learning his trade. So if a big club comes in and pays millions and millions of pounds for him, he's not going to play. He's not going to play because of the nature of the business. I'm not saying there's a lack of ability, but he's going into a different environment. There's more expectations and that. And at the moment we. As I said about Antoine and Lola are young players, I think I'm really looking forward to working with them next season. They've got a long time left in the career. They don't have to be rushing yet. They're still learning the game as you know. As you see it every week. So it's not, it's not me talking like major coaching aspects or anything like that. You can see every week. But it's great, isn't it, that he's grasped his chance unbelievably. And the best thing for me is that you play anywhere. He literally he goes in and he says, okay. And he's not saying he'll struggle or we're saying he's the best in that, but he's just saying, yes, Gaffer, thanks for, putting a belief in me. I'll play here today. And, lucky for him, he's an intelligent, good footballer and a good guy.
You mentioned his development with that contract until 2025. I think there is no kind of real rush, or you can kind of play hardball, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, but it's something that I don't think we have to think about. I don't think we have to. At the moment, he's our player. I think if, the reality of football world is if someone comes in and says, I'll give you 100 million, you know what I mean? We'd all go, oh, all right, then we might have to take that. If someone comes in and says, I'll give you 400 grand, you go, oh, you're winding me up. So I don't think it's, nothing's going to happen here. They're part of us. We're not even literally, we're not thinking about them going. We haven't had it in the back of our mind, and that's an honest fact. We don't sit in there shaking and thinking that the phone's going to ring and someone's going to come and take them. We really believe that they're going to be here. The way the club is forming, the plan and the pathway that the club are planning, as young players are involved in that. So you can't do it without the young players and bringing people through the academy. So at the moment, honestly, we're not even thinking about them going anywhere. We're really looking forward to the last 12 games. And then I'm looking forward to seeing how good they are next season, because there's a different expectation on them next season.
Sure. And I know you touched upon George Tanner's recovery. Is there kind of a time frame in mind? Because I think a couple of weeks ago there was talk of him coming at the start of March. Obviously that's pretty fast approaching. So is that Birmingham game on the 5th, is that a realistic expectation for his return? Or
No, for us at the moment that isn't. No, we still want to make sure that he knows himself, he knows his body, and he's right, he's ready, and he's up for it. Because again, you haven't played for a while, and then you come into it's a Formula 1 race. You know what I mean? You can't go for a jog and then go to the Olympics. Do you know what I mean? You can't. There's a gradual build, of things. So we want him back. There's no doubt about that. And he's probably training harder than he's probably ever trained. I think he was at an academy at Manchester United where he probably trained hard, and then he's gone to Carlisle. Well, he probably trained hard, and now here he's getting. We're saying, yeah, you thought you were fit, but we're going to get you where we think you can go. And at the moment we're working really, really hard on that. And as soon as he's ready, again, we'll put him back in.
And just finally, from me, I'll add Tim closer. Is there a desire to extend that contract at the moment, or is it just a case of wait and see how it develops over the next 12 games?
Well, I think everyone's been happy, aren't they? You see him this morning. I don't think again that he sat, thinking, when they're going to come or what we're going to do. At the moment, we're concentrating on the games. When he came, I thought it was a really mature decision from him to come and train with us for a few weeks, and he showed a real belief. And he probably didn't expect to hit the ground running as much as he has, or as quickly as he has. We had to, Nigel having a chat with him saying, it doesn't matter what age you are, but you have to give him that little, G up and that confidence boost that, yeah, you're 33, yeah, it's a championship, and you haven't played in it a while, but you'll be okay. You'll be fine. Get your head on and build. And I don't think we've seen the best of him just yet, and he's 33. I said to him this morning, you look 42, but I still think he's 33. But he's a great guy around the place. And again, I think that he's enjoyed his time here, and we've enjoyed having him here. And then what happens after that, then will happen, I think, naturally.
Thanks, Curtis. See you Saturday.
Thanks. Thank you.
Hi, Curtis.
Hey, how you doing? You all right?
Good. Doing well, thank you. I'm not sure if you realise, but only the top three in the Championship have scored more goals than Bristol City this season. So how close do you think Bristol City are to finding that balance between defence and attack? Because obviously at the moment, the form of Antoine and Andy, it's just that one little bit that's probably needed to give that balance, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's like everything, Jordan, is. I think that you've it's what we're striving for, isn't it? It's what you strive for. It's an unbelievable thing if you can get it. I've been in a few promotion teams that played, and when we played, I remember playing a couple of games and thinking we're not going to concede. Whatever happened, we just didn't. It hit my ear and hit the post and wouldn't go in. You know what I mean, or something. And you just had that belief, and it grew. And I think at the start of the season, a lot of people were thinking that some of the stats from last season was like a few games with no corners. A few games with no shots on target, and people were getting worried. Now it's if I was coming to the Bristol City game, I think, wow, it's quite exciting. Up to 90 minutes probably, but after that, it's something that we are working on. Hence why we brought Tim in. We needed somebody, I think, that little bit more stability to come in, and we still conceded a few goals. But there's a real. What would you say? We're working on kind of relationships, unit work. We're working on everything, if I'm honest with you. But it shows that we have a goal in us, and we know more than anybody that we need to keep the door shut. And sometimes I think it's those fine margins, and it's those last stitch or last minute decisions in games. And I think it's something that we have to work on. There's nothing. I'm the same as you guys. There's nothing worse than dropping those points or coming away and after the game thinking, what could I have done better there? You don't sleep after the game on Tuesday. You're then back in the office at 8 the next morning thinking, right, what can I do and what can we do? But we have to keep striving and believing. And, people were saying that, we wouldn't win at home, and then we win 4 consecutive at home. And then we were winning away then. So I think we're looking for that, Jordan, and that's honestly where we're striving every day, and we're working hard for it. And it'll come, don't worry, it will come, and we really believe that.
Thank you. And it was Warrington Ian's birthday yesterday. He's played a part in the academy to the first team. I was just wondering, what is the process in regards to, say, an academy player that goes into the first team? Because there's so many young players this season, but we've seen the likes of perhaps Duncan Idahan was on the bench against Swansea. Yes. And what's the process? Does he suggest a player to you? Because I know you watch some of the under-23s games as well, perhaps.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of everything. I think it has to be, Jordan. I think that sometimes at clubs there seems to be a wall down the middle between academy and first team, and they're afraid to open the door or come across or do anything here. This is an open training ground. And there's always ongoing chats about who's played, who we think, and then we'll speak to Brian about the mentality. Did they deserve to come up? They might have played well in the game, but do they deserve to come up and get a chance to train with the first team? And then on the other hand, the young players know there's a pathway. There's a pathway. If they work that little bit harder and they do well with the 23s and they're good around the building, the manager here now will give you a chance. I'm not saying maybe it wasn't before, I don't know, but I just feel now with me walking in this building, if I was a young player, I don't know what happened this season, last season or the season before, but what I would say is I think, wow, I've got half a chance here. I was a young player, I'd come to Bristol City, because it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if I have 400 games or I've got 40 under 23 games, I have a chance. So there's a lot of interaction between both, the academy and the first team. And at the end of the day, we're all striving for the same thing. We want the best player coming through the academy to play for the first team. And we've shown that there's a pathway for him. And Tins has shown that he's got lads there ready to step up. And there's still a few more. We see Dylan Kadji training with us this morning. Josh Hours is chomping and he's been waiting, So, these guys will get an opportunity. And for us, isn't it no better? Is it for the club and for the fan base to see one of your own walking out at 3 o'clock on a Saturday? So we'll strive for that.
Yeah, because I was going to say, it's touch words. Doesn't look like the club's in a relegation battle at all now. So, sometimes within the last 12 games, you kind of blood in some youngsters, and of course, Bristol City have blooded those youngsters throughout the season. Do you expect perhaps the likes of Josh or Duncan perhaps to be in the team now or pushing around the place in the last 12 because it isn't as much pressure in the final few games?
Well, Jordan, welcome to it. If you don't feel pressure over 12 games in the Championship, all the best with you, mate, wherever you are in the league. Oh, my God. No. There's there'll be no taking the foot off the pedal. If they're needed and they keep training as well as they do, they will get an opportunity. There is no doubt about that. But the opportunity, it won't be because it's nice. They're nice lads, and it won't be. I keep saying that, but that's my mantra. And it won't be because that we're taking the foot off the pedal that we think that we should blood them. They're training with us and they're doing well. And if the opportunity arises, like it did for Belly to play him, it was the right time to play Belly. He gets his opportunity. And that's what it'll be. So it's great that we have them knocking at the door. They're training with us all the time. We're getting to know them as individuals and the technical, ability as in positives and some things that we have to work on. So it's great to have them around. They won't be getting a forced interference for Bristol just because we think it should be. They'll get the chance when they come. We want to finish the season as high and as strong as we can, and the deficiencies that you've mentioned, in one of your questions there, we need to work on that. And this Monday to Friday is brilliant, but Saturday where you prove it.
And just lastly, one player who's in the first team picture at the moment, Casey Palmer. Is he injured at the moment? Because is he injured long term or is it a short term injury?
He just had a problem with his knee, and the club, he sent it for a scan, and there was something there, but nothing major, So you're just really just trying to nurse him back. We don't want him coming back and breaking down. At the moment, the team are flying, so you're saying to him, just make sure that when you come back, you're ready to go. So he's been in, constantly talking to him. He's not. It's quite hard, isn't it, sometimes for the injured boys, because they get forgotten about a little bit. But we don't do it here. As I said, it's a very open building here, the High Performance Centre. So his knee is improving. It's not majorly bad, but we're not rushing him. So it's so when he's ready, he'll be back in the fold.